The year was 2012. It was a warm, sunny day in Los Angeles, California, really not unlike most other days. The graduate school department of UCLA had a particular stillness to it, not so much calm as it was expectant. Fluorescent lights in the hallway hummed quietly overhead. A young man stood at the front of a large room, his hands gripping the podium so intensely that his knuckles turned white. Across from him sat a panel of professors whose names carried weight within and without the walls of the university. These men were well respected in their fields. They published journal articles. They spoke at conferences. The young man recognized their faces from many years of lectures. Among them was the young man's advisor, a man who once nodded approvingly at the young man's tentative research ideas. The young man began to speak, or at least he thought he did. The words came out, but they felt distant, as if they belonged to someone else. His vision narrowed, the room collapsing into a tunnel that framed only the projection screen and the nearest set of eyes. The rest blurred into obscurity. Sound followed suit. Words came in muffled, almost as if spoken underwater. The young man answered the questions on instinct, drawing from rehearsed pathways in his mind. But each sentence felt fragile, easily broken up by the next interruption. Each question from the professors landed harder than the last. He paused. In that pause, time stretched on infinitely. He became acutely aware of his breathing. Too fast, too shallow. In the back of his mind, a quiet voice whispered that he was losing control. That control that he had so carefully practiced over and over. It was dissolving in real time. Eventually, it ended, or perhaps it simply stopped. He gathered his computer and mouse and walked into the hallway, the door behind him closing with a sound that shook him to his core. It seemed much, much louder than it should have been. The hall was empty. He collapsed onto an old bench that lined the wall, like an oasis in the desert, his hands clasped, his eyes fixed on an insignificant portion of the floor that he had never noticed before. Minutes passed. It could have been hours, he had no way to tell. His heart refused to slow down. Finally, it was time. The panel called him back in. He stood vulnerable before the gentle, yet serious eyes of the men that he looked up to. Men whose influence inspired the trajectory of his future career. The decision was delivered to him plainly. He did not pass his oral exam. And this was his second attempt. The words fell with a dull finality, heavy and complete. In that instant, a wave of thoughts crashed over his mind. Faces appeared, family members who had sacrificed and supported him throughout the journey, friends who had celebrated small victories along the way and had been in the battle with him, mentors who told him that he belonged in this program, this echelon of higher learning. All of it pressed in at once. And beneath it all, something deeper fractured. A goal that had stretched back years, defining worth, shaping life choices, and promising a meaningful existence, began to crumble all at once. The young man felt grief, sharp and uninvited, mixed with disbelief. This wasn't how the story was supposed to go. He had no words of reply. He simply nodded, thanked them, and walked out. The hallway was the same as before he had entered the room, but he left a very different man. The young man stood there for a moment longer than necessary, suspended between his previous trajectory and the uncertainty that now stretched before him. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, carrying the weight of the moment with him into whatever would come next. That young man was me. I wish that I could tell you that I picked myself up the next day and powered through. But the truth is, I struggled with that failure for quite a while. It reshaped how I saw myself and my contributions to society. But somewhere in that reshaping, I found a different way forward. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the pathway toward it. The oral exam didn't prove I was incapable. It proved I wasn't ready yet. There's a big difference. Learning to separate I failed from I'm a failure took time, but it changed everything about my outlook moving forward. These lessons helped me finish my PhD, but they've carried me far beyond the lab. My hope is that sharing some of my tips for persevering, you'll be better prepared to navigate your own windy road ahead. Laughing releases dopamine and endorphins, the brain's feel-good chemicals. It can also reduce cortisol, the hormone behind your fight or flight response. Translation: laughter is good for you. By triggering the brain's natural reward system, laughing improves your mood and creates a sense of well-being. It's a simple and affordable way to enhance your motivation. Laugh to keep from crying and laughter is the best medicine are common phrases for a reason. Hobbies aren't just a way to pass the time. They're crucial for maintaining a healthy work-life balance, whatever that looks like for you. Hobbies provide a sense of accomplishment that's distinct from your everyday life. Take up an activity that delivers a tangible output. Learn to play a musical instrument. Go for a hike. These are two specific examples that saved me during grad school. A proper hobby should give your mind a chance to rest and recharge so that you can go back to crushing life. Research indicates that physical fitness is closely tied to mental performance and cognition. Check the description below for references. Consider creative solutions to stay active. You don't have to go to the gym. I know in grad school I couldn't even afford a gym pass, so I had to get creative. For example, I would park a long way away from campus. I would find street parking and then I would walk several miles a day. And as an added bonus, I also didn't have to pay those expensive quarterly parking passes at UCLA. Although, to be fair, I did get my fair share of parking tickets, and so I would caution you against that if you can avoid it. Back in 2009, I was accepted into the biochemistry program at UCLA. I loved biology and its intersection with chemistry, but what I wasn't excited about was running SDS page and gel filtration columns all day. During the period after my admissions paperwork was submitted, I decided that I wanted to change my major to physical chemistry instead. During the site visit, I asked my host professor if he would allow me to change. The department really had no incentive whatsoever to allow me to change my major after I had already been accepted into the biochemistry program. But they did, and I was glad I asked. Speaking out and making requests like this don't cost you anything. The worst they can do is say no. If that happens, bide your time until a better opportunity comes along. I've witnessed too many people bottling up their true passions and emotions until they have panic attacks or even worse. Don't hold it in. Work hard and build rapport with those in authority over you. Now I know that sounds cliche, but it really could change your life. Remember the example that I told you about me almost failing out of grad school? Well, that didn't happen because I had established a reputation with my advisor of hard work and also respectfully vocalizing my struggles throughout the process. As a result, I received critical support when I needed it the most. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is keep going, but sometimes it's recognizing that the path that you're on isn't the right one for you, and then you have to choose a different direction. Perseverance doesn't mean staying stuck. It means staying committed to growth, even if that growth takes you somewhere unexpected. Life is a journey filled with challenges and opportunities for personal and professional growth. By prioritizing mental and physical health and having a flexible attitude toward your circumstances, you can navigate this experience successfully and learn a lot about yourself in the process. These tips will improve your odds of success, but they don't guarantee outcomes. What they do, hopefully, is help you survive the process with your sense of self intact, regardless of where you end up. I wish you all the best on your path toward success. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope it helps you.